I have this huge expedition sled, and I'm going to show you all of the gear that I bring along when I go hot tenting. So I have this huge expedition sled that is so big that it doesn't even fit in frame. And it's 9 feet long, and it's actually made out of a UHMW material. And I had to take a note on my hand here. Ultra high molecular weight. It's a polyresin plastic. Super hard. It's super slippery, and it's super durable. So this is my new sled that I'm bringing all of my gear in. You may be asking, what happened to the Polk? Well, the Polk was much smaller. The problem with the Polk is it tipped over all the time. So this thing is 9 feet long. And as you can see here, I have 3 totes and I have everything packed. So I'm going to show you everything that I bring along when I go hot tenting. And I want to show you on this sled. First of all, it has this rope with a strap that you can put on your shoulder, around your waist to pull it. And when you have to go down a hill, it doesn't have brakes, so you hold it from behind and use this rope. So the advantage of this expedition sled is I can fit more gear. It isn't top heavy. The disadvantage to something like this is it's not something that you want to bring on rough terrain or if you're going on the side of a hill, because it has nothing to hold it on trail and it will slide sideways. Okay, so let's hop into the gear, and you can see that I have a few things bungee corded on the top. And the first thing here is my snowshoes. These are the MSR snowshoes. I've had these for a few years. They're just kind of the cheaper plastic ones, but they have a metal grip on the bottom for if it's icy, and it helps just a little bit when there is the deep snow. Let's keep moving along. On the top here, also bungeed when I'm walking in, I'm shooting video. So this is my tripod with the holder for my camera right on top. I can whip that out as need be. This humongous thing is my sleep pad. This is the Invoker sleep pad. It's huge, it's insulated, and I bought it off of Amazon. But I'm concerned about this being insulated enough, so you'll see that I have another sleeping pad inside of my tote here. We'll get to that. All right, this is a full-size lawn chair. If I'm going out with a bunch of people and we're going to be sitting around a campfire, I don't want that little chair zero. I want a full-size chair. Now, if I'm going out by myself, this probably isn't going to be going along because I'll probably be spending most of my time in my hot tent, which this will not fit. Okay, so you can see here I have 3 totes, a larger one and 2 smaller ones. They're all from Plano, and they are specifically made for gear and hunting and fishing, so they're super durable. What you want to worry about when you are going cold weather camping is plastic gets brittle, and I'm hoping that these will hold up. Now, as I evolve and I get better gear, I'm probably going to eventually replace these with some specialized canvas duffel bags or some wood boxes that may be more durable in the cold. So you'll see here they are all attached with this webbing, which it'll take me just a second here to loosen that up so we can get inside. Okay, before we hop into the totes, I should mention that this expedition sled is from Now Outdoors and a real good guy named Nick Gordon, and they have a website and you can order them on the website. Another great feature about the expedition sled is how do you fit it in a small car, even like my Subaru Crosstrek? well, it rolls right up. You don't have to worry about 9 feet. Just roll it up, put her away. So in the very front of the expedition sled, I have this, I believe it's a 3.5 gallon bucket, just like a 5-gallon bucket, but smaller. And it has a special lid on it that screws off. So you'll see on here, there are some magnets on the top. I'll show you what that's for in just a second. But inside of here, I have a big pot. When you go out camping in the Boundary Waters or someplace like that, usually the lakes are frozen. You know, if you're carrying a sled, most likely the lakes are frozen. And this big pot is handy for melting snow. Other than melting snow, if you're with a big group, you can boil up your chili or your stew for the group in there. So inside of here, it's not full. When I actually go out, this is a place where not only this gear that's inside of here, but I'll also stash some food in there. I have a little rag for wiping down my tent, washing dishes, a little spatula, my long-handled spork with the toothbrush on the end. I have just my little ditty bag in here where it has a lighter, wet wipes, some medications, chapstick, some Bluca tape, all sorts of little things in there. I've insulated mug here for my hot chocolate. There is a collapsible frying pan and a little plate inside of here. So that is everything that is inside of the pail. Before we hop in, I found this sign. I did a video on this a while ago. Some of you people have no sense of humor. What am I going to wear when I go out? I have my Steger mucklucks. They are really good as long as it isn't wet out. It has to be cold enough where everything's frozen. These are somewhat waterproof, but not real great, but they are super warm when it's cold out. I have some insulated gloves. I do wear the bigger ones. Oftentimes my hands get warm walking in, but I'm always nervous about being cold right when I start, so I just wear the bigger gloves. These are cheap Wrangler pants with insulation and a fleece lining in them. I have some, these are fleece socks, super warm. I think they're warmer than wool. I just have a pair of underwear, and over the pair of long underwear, I have Brynja long underwear. So Brynja, you're thinking is that mesh. These are actually, they have a mesh on the inside, and on the outside, it is a merino wool. So that mesh is a poly, which is better for breathing, and it doesn't get as wet. And the merino wool on the outside is that mid layer built in for staying warm. Same thing on the top. I have this quarter zip, also from Brynja. This is from their Polar collection, double layered. It has this huge neck that you can zip up to keep the lower half of your face warm, and these big thumb holes so you can pull it down over your hands and stay warm. Also from Brynja, the exact same inside mesh, outside merino wool stocking cap. And this is the Vario coat from Outdoor Vitals. This is like a puffy, but it's not downfill. So I'm not worried about this getting wet. So this is actually a mid layer when I'm out camping. However, it's my outer layer as I'm walking in. All right, let's hop into what's inside of this biggest tote here. Okay, let's start with this. This is a hand warmer. This is actually battery powered, and there's a heating element in here for keeping your hands warm. So you know, you just wear it. Usually has a strap, but I'm going to show you in a second here why I don't have that strap. But you just put a battery from your power bank inside of here, and it'll help keep your hands warm. And this I just bought off of Amazon. Okay, I have a thin pair of gloves here. They keep warm. They fit nice right inside of the other gloves. I have some just wool. I should mention that these are possum down gloves from Zpacks. These are just some cheap wool gloves. You can see that they're filthy because I like wearing these when I'm messing around with my stove inside of my hot tent. Okay, this is my Leicester River Boreal Anorak shirt. This thing is super heavy. This is my outer layer. And these things aren't cheap, but you get what you pay for. The reason why I don't have a strap on that hand warmer is it has this super big pouch, and I can shove the hand warmer right in there, so I don't need a belt. But I'd highly recommend this if you're going to be doing super cold camping. Now, this thing is very bulky and very heavy, so it isn't ultra lightweight, but when you're in a camping condition like this, you can bring it along. All right, I have some insulated work gloves. So yes, I have, 4 pairs of gloves, but I want to keep my fingers warm. Okay, inside of here, this is my, I'm not going to open it up, but this is my oven that I made for my my stove inside of my hot tent. So it's just made out of a couple bread pans. It has a grate inside. I can cook cinnamon rolls, pizza, cookies, you name it inside of here. All right, this here is my second sleeping pad. So if there's one thing that I could improve on in my gear here, it's I could get a smaller sleeping pad that is well insulated if I had an extra $350 or $400 laying around. But I just bought this. This is a closed cell sleeping pad. So I'll place this underneath that other sleeping pad, and it should provide more warmth from laying on the ground, the frozen ground in the snow. Okay, this is just a cheap 0-degree sleeping bag, mummy sleeping bag. I don't like mummy sleeping bags, but I already had it. So this is a 0-degree, but since it's so cheap, I don't really think that it's a 0-degree. So I do bring one of my quilts, one of my warmer weather quilts. And on this particular trip, I have planned and packed a 30-degree quilt that is inside of here. But before we get to that, I have to show you my inflatable pillow, Sea to Summit. What's it called here? It's a Sea to Summit Eros Premium Large Pillow. I have some down socks available on Garage Grown Gear from Goose Feet Down. I love these things. I bring them almost on every backpacking trip, even in the summer. If you're cold, at least this will keep your feet warm. I do have a second pair of socks just in case my feet get cold and get wet. These are wool socks as my backup, and a backup pair of underwear in case I get juicy downstairs. This is my REI Puffy. Had it for years. This is just a seasonal thing at REI. Magma 850 fill power down. It does have a chest pocket where I keep my earplugs and some other things that I want to keep warm when I'm out in the cold. All right, this is that 30-degree quilt, top quilt. When I'm camping in the winter, I would prefer to have a sleeping bag over a quilt, just because if you roll over in a quilt, you get that draft coming in and that cold air coming in. So this, I lay inside of that sleeping bag and I lay this and layer them. So I will be plenty warm, and I can unzip that mummy sleeping bag a little bit since I don't really like those. Okay, this is some strap-on spikes in case it gets icy. A collapsible shovel here. Oftentimes when you get out to the site, you'll have some deep snow and you have to dig out where your hot tent is going. And finally, my Fisker splitting axe. If you don't know the difference between a cutting axe and a splitting axe, you should look it up because these split wood obviously a little bit better than that cutting axe. Okay, so that is everything inside of the big tote. We're going to move along here and go into the first smaller tote. And this has a lot of stuff in it, even though it's smaller. All right, we'll just leave that over here. Still have that bungee on. All right. This is just a tarp to lay down inside of my hot tent. Help keep things dry. I do have a different tarp that I put under where I'm sleeping, but this will help cover the other areas of the tent, especially if it's wet or it's muddy. Okay, this, remember how I showed you there were magnets on top of here? I screw that on the top of my bucket, and those magnets attach, and this is a table inside of my hot tent. So I can put food on here, I can use it as a work area. I put my little candle on here as a nightlight. It just comes in really handy inside that hot tent to have that short little table. Okay, this is just a foam pad. I like to put this either on the chair when I'm sitting to keep my bottom warm, or I use it in my hot tent just as a kneeling pad. Okay, this is the Luxe bath floor tub. So this is the tub and the tarp that I sleep on top of. Put my sleeping pads, put my sleeping bags. This is what that lays on, which is different from that other tarp. This is a little bit more durable, and it provides a little bit of separation from the sleeping area out to the other areas that you're walking on, and it might get dirty. Okay, this is a fire-resistant blanket. This goes underneath where my stove is inside of the hot tent, so I don't melt the tarp or damage the grass or anything underneath my stove, which it gets quite hot underneath that stove. Okay, this is 4 layers of Reflectix, and inside of here is an Nalgene 1-liter water bottle. So that works as insulation, and I usually try to bring warm water out to keep it from freezing. This is a 32-ounce thermos, kind of the same thing here. Bring it out, and you know, if you're boiling your water, you put the hot water in there and it stays hot a lot longer. This is my big boy saw. Be very careful with it because it will cut you. But it cuts real well, and it is pretty lightweight. Okay, so this is my hot tent. This is the Luxe Mini Peak XL Pro Shelter. I have had this for a year. It's a really small hot tent. I wouldn't recommend having more than one person inside of this, but the benefit of having a small hot tent is you can have a small stove because you don't have a bigger area to keep warm. Okay, moving right along. This is my new hot tent stove. So, let's see if I can get over here. Let's do it over here. So this is brand new. Three Ridges Gear Company. That's where I got my Luxe hot tent and that tarp for underneath. And they are also the ones that provided me with this stove. The stove is stainless steel. It's really small. It's a little bit heavier than that titanium stove that I used to have, but it's a lot easier to put together, and I look forward to using it here. So since this storage bag is so large, I shove some other things inside of here. These are just some hot hands, disposable hand warmers. This is a candle. So these candles are really nice. This one will last 2 nights, 2 whole nights. I light that when I go to bed, and it's kind of a night light for when I have to get up in the middle of the night. Okay, also inside of here, these are my tent stakes, and these aren't your typical tent stake. These are simply just like 9-inch nails. Great big heavy nails. And you need that because when you go out, the ground is frozen. And if you try to pound your lightweight stake in the ground, it's just going to break. So these things work real well. I pound it in with that axe, and it works out real good. So I have 2 of these in here. They're there. This is what I need for making my fires inside of my stove, inside of the, so I just open it up and you can see inside of here there's a lighter, there's some fire starters, and this little metal thing here is a pocket bellows for helping start that fire. So I have that inside of this one, and this is the exact same thing, but it just has the fire starters inside of it. And just to prove to you that that stove is hot underneath, I kind of burned this up. So don't put things underneath your stove in your hot tent. All right, so everything else is in there. It's the stove pipe, the spark arrestor, the lines for stabilizing the stovepipe. Everything's inside of there. All right, let's get over to, if I can get over there, the third tote. All right. This one hardly has anything in it because what am I missing? What should I be taking on this trip that you haven't seen yet? Kind of need some food, right? So this thing is almost empty. This is where all my food's going to go, but it does have this little bag in there. I may shove this instead of in here, put it in that 3.5 gallon bucket. But this is, get this out of the way so you can see. This is my electronics bag and all the little things that I think that I'm going to need inside of the hot tent. So I have 2 big Anker power banks. When it's cold out, your phone, everything, if it gets cold, it's going to lose power. So I have, I think it's a 27 milliamp, 26, right around there. And this one is like 10 or 12, just for plugging in my things. I have my glasses for at night looking at my phone. I have a little lamp that I'll hang up inside of my hot tent for a little extra light. Carbon monoxide detector, because when you're burning that stove inside of your tent, you want to make sure that you don't die. Oh, I have my Garmin InReach Mini. I'm not going to keep it as accessible as you probably would while you're hiking, but it's there just in case of an emergency. I have just a thermometer. Hang this up inside of your hot tent so you can see and brag about, hey, my tent was 100 degrees last night and it was 40 below out. Okay, I have my Nitecore NU25 rechargeable headlamp, as well as cords for charging my phone, earbuds if I want to listen to a movie inside of my tent, and another charging cord for the headlamp, the Garmin, everything. So I think that's all the gear that I need for hot tenting. If you can think of anything that I forgot or have any suggestions for how to improve my hot tenting, let me know. But I'm hoping for some snow now to get all this gear out. But thanks for coming along. If you like this video, go ahead and hit subscribe, punch the bell notification, check out Midwest Backpacker on Instagram and Facebook. We will see you out on the trail.